All right, welcome, folks. A very good morning to each and every one of you. Happy and delighted to have all of you here with us. Yes, yet another morning. A very good morning to each and every one of you. Bushmaster, we see you there, and Debbie Collins, Edward Brooms, Kenrick, Brazil, we see you there as well. Or is it Basil? Basil. Kenrick Basil, good to have you on the live this morning. Brian, we see you too. Brian Abrams and Raul Gulliver, Debbie Collins, we see you on the live too this morning. A very good morning, Pam Halls and Irwin Don Cook and Dolly Anderson. Good to have all of you on the live. Neon Harding, we see you there, Neon. Donna George, as I said, Shamila Etchell is here too. Shamila, how are you doing? Good to have you on the live this morning, and all the other folks joining us from the various places. We are delightful that you guys are here with us. It's Friday the 13th. Believe it or not, don't even want to call it like that. Friday, Friday the 13th, folks. Respect and manners to all of you folks. The night is far spent, and all we have is each other now. We are at the end of the week, folks. We are at the end of the week, happy and delighted, as I said. Happy and delighted we have all of you here with us. Don Walcott, we see you there, Don, Gil Ali Cock, Bernadette, Patricia Miller. Good to have you there too. Beatrice Selby joining us from the diaspora. And Irvin is here with us for a little while. John Anderson, Dolly Anderson is here with us. Dolly. How are you doing? Sudhari Sukhchan. Folks, we're delighted and privileged. Final morning show for the week ending September 13th, Friday the 13th. Myrna Stobie joining us from Port Kaituma has some of the most delicious delicacies there in Port Kaituma. William Joseph is here too, and Paul Claremont, D'Angelo. Paul, how are you doing? I ain't here for a little while. Paul, how are you doing? Paul. Good to have Paul on the live too. Lynn Fernandez, and as he said, all our favorite folks here with us, folks, and we're ready to get into it this morning. How are you guys doing? Thanks to the advent of technology. Boom, boom, boom. Things all around us flashing, and we want to get right into it, folks. The first 15, we see some folks calling us from the Carolinas. Let us know if you're hearing us loud and clear. Let us know if you're hearing us loud and clear, folks out there, because that's how we want to be heard. Good to have you all on the live with us. And y'all know how we say it in the vernacular. How we say it in the vernacular. But good to have all of you with us this morning, good folks. The first 15. You know, your boy, Irwin Don Boy, the vice president, had an interesting press conference yesterday. Joanna Green had an interesting press conference yesterday. Right? And I'm not going to go into it in any great length or detail, but it's so interesting because I wonder if the fellow now unhinged. Right? That's what I'm wondering. Is this fella unhinged? Some of the things he said boggles the mind. Right? Boggles the mind. Somebody said, getting a spectator. Walterine Ennis, Magnell Barrow. Good to have all of you on the live. So many places you all are joining us from this morning. Lots of you joining us from the diaspora. Good to have you folks there. We still dotting some I's, crossing some T's, such and so forth as we on this morning. I'm trying to keep abreast with your comments too. You know, lots of things happening, guys. We just gotta, try to make the best. As I said, this press conference yesterday, I don't know why this fella just don't stay off the air. Just don't stay off the air, because he purports, we gotta stay focused on the things that matters. And I wonder, is it the thing that matters to he personally? Or is it things that really matter in this country? Though all the municipal, he admitted he don't go to cabinet. So he really know what's happening in the Silga cabinet. And so he He don't already know what's happening. He said he don't go to cabinet. He too big for cabinet. He too big for cabinet. He don't go to cabinet. Do they sit down and say, as ministers, these are the things that are important, we believe, because we've been talking to the people on the ground? Or is however he roll out of bed, however you roll out of bed, that's how he does it, you know? So hear him talking about, the need to be focused on the things that matters. It was an interesting press conference, and I'm going somewhere with my own argumentation, if you follow. He said he wants to focus on the things that matter. You gotta watch the things that matter. Take a look. Take a listen.
Last week I spoke of the need to focus on the things that matter to our people. And how in certain sections of the media we can find reports on everything except on those issues that are of primary importance to our people. And I listed several areas.
Yeah. So he vex. He vex. Right? He vex. He don't know why the media not covering the things he want them to cover. Why is the media Stabrook News, and why isn't the Kaicho News, Village Voice, and so on carrying the things? His government are doing all these nice, glowing things that his government purports to be doing. He wants to know why they're not covering that. So he makes the argument in this press conference. This is why he has to come back and bore reporters every week, talking about the same things over and over. He said to one, because the rest of the media is not carrying it. So he got to come back in his press conferences and regurgitate the same thing over and over. Fact, fiction, fact and fiction, and everything in between that. He said because the media, so he got to keep coming back over and over again.
So every week we have the task of coming back to press conferences like the one I'm having here or in the public domain, and repeating what we said before. And sometimes it becomes repetitive and boring, as I said before, but we have to keep doing it in this serious, coordinated attempt to hide the history of the 5 years.
So I'm telling you folks, the fella's unhinged. Yvette Latchman, he's unhinged. I mean, like, who say about the own press conference? It's boring. I could see how people could tune into that. It gets boring. It's get boring. Could you imagine a singer sings a song and says, "Oh, it's not a nice song." No. Take a listen. It's not really a nice song, man. It might put you to sleep. It's a little boring. The fella, it makes me wonder about the mens rea. What's happening upstairs? Y'all know it's not too much. You got 2 dry brambles. Them old westerns blowing around the place. You got two dry brambles. Not too much upstairs there. Y'all know the elevator meeting the top floor in a long time. It's long now. The elevator stopped meeting there. All these important things. He said, we come on this program here and this press conference, and we tell you important things. He said, we tend to get a little boring. We tend to get a little boring. But these are matters of national interest. And these matters of national interest, that's not how your life is going to be bettered by all of these fantastic policies and so on, that the rest of the media, the proper media, that is, Starbucks News and Village Voice and Credible Sources and Kaichu News, They're failing to mention tumbleweed, neon harding, tumbleweed, same thing. Blowing, you got two of them blowing around in his head. Right? He wonders why the rest of the media not picking up on this. You know who featuring large yesterday and the weeks prior? Nigel Hughes. Rickford Burke. They get in the way of him talking about all the fantastic plans and accomplishments of his administration. You can get Mr. Norton, Aubrey Norton, featuring highly there. Annette Ferguson, and all of that, right? It's some real, it took a turn of recent. It took a turn, you know. He says his press conferences about important national issues that we want to keep the public focused on, because the other rest of the media ain't following it, right? Ain't following. So he has to point out these very important matters. Thanks for joining us. Important matters, you hear?
If you think about low life, if you look at this movie Heart of Stone, I was watching an action movie recently, and there's the charter there, and the head of the charter was referring to the childhood of this Alia Bhatt, who is an Indian movie star who was in the movie.
So this is what he wants. This is what he vexed with Kaichur News and so on for not covering, and Stabrook News not featuring highly. Right? This is this is the press conference, folks. This is the press conference. You can't make some of this stuff up. You just can't. So he's wailing into the media. You know, every week we gotta come back here, and it gets a little boring. It gets a little boring. And here's why.
If you think about low life, if you look at this movie Heart of Stone, I was watching an action movie recently, and there's the charter there, and the head of the charter was referring to the childhood of this Alia Bhatt, who is an Indian movie star who was in the movie. If you think about
Yeah. You know, sometimes I'm a little hard. Sometimes I'm a little tough on our local journalists. I said, you know, not all of them go prepared for these press conferences. You gotta do your little research and so on. But like now, you're not gonna watch every movie. I could see them. Our reporters writing this down. Watched a movie, uh, Indian movie, has this man in it, Jagabat. Uh, this is this is this is a press conference in the fastest growing economy in the world. Spent about 45 minutes yesterday talking about Nigel Hughes and Cathy Hughes and the court case involving this is personal business, but somehow this is supposed to be of national interest, and who called who low life and who wrote what on Facebook, right? And in all of that, he vexed with the media. He vexed with the media. They're not covering these riveting press conferences about the Indian movie that he watched and all of that, and this action movie that he watched in his spare time, and how that might impact on the national interest. I mean, this is, I don't know. You know, I got glimpses of it like, cuckoo. One flew over the cuckoo nest. What was the action? The action star in that one. Let me talk about some movies here. Oh, yeah, I watched recently. You know, what movies y'all watch of recent vintage? And when the press conferences are not veering off in this way for the local media to cover, Cheryl Glenn, Yvette Monroe, when they're not veering off in, you know, his personal life, but his kids and wife and so on, you know, like Freddie and the dog, What is not veering off in this way is lies. And the other 5% of it is just it's just lies. You remember the fella told us. He said APNU had 200 taxes they put on the backs of Guyanese. 200 taxes. APNU put on the backs of Guyanese. Folks, I can tell you all, we are heading now into another general regional elections. So you see a lot of strange things and hear a lot of strange things. Lots of this was to distract from what's happening at the Ghana Manufacturing, the Ghana Marketing Corporation, the GMC. So the other 5% of the press conference is just lies. So now move from 200 taxes that APNU AFC government, the last legitimate government in this country, put on the backs of taxpayers. He elevated yesterday. It's now 350. 350. He elevated it. Folks, lies, lies, lies. Take a listen to some of it. He elevated it. Lies. All
I pointed out, and that there were over 200 new taxes and fees introduced or increased by APNU. If you go to the back of every budget speech made by Jordan and you look at the annex or one of them, you will find a long list of measures increasing taxes. So I thought it's 200. And Ferguson asked us to present in Parliament the list that we were exaggerating. When we actually counted, it came up to over 350 measures, things that were increased.
Yep. So it was 200 taxes. Now it's 350. It's 350. But he said the important thing there. Member of Parliament, Annette Ferguson, did say, you're exaggerating this thing. Jack, you know what? All this thing but back of book and if you search through book and all that stuff. Right? Don't worry about all that. You just make a list of it. And he did say that when counting, he found 350, but he didn't meet the Parliament yet. The list, he could have simply published that list yesterday afternoon in that press conference. But it's lie after lie. Dolly, Terence, Marlin, he could have simply published that list. We're still waiting on it. We're in a holding pattern. Like here, finale, cocaine plane, Circle in Cherry Dragon International. We're in a holding pattern for this list. And it says, Jack Deo, stop talking a bunch of lies, foolishness, propaganda, made up stuff. Publish the list. Lay it over the National Assembly. You hear the fella said, he went through meticulously while he was watching his action movie. He said, and he found 350 taxes, measures that APNU implemented. Just publish the list. Publish this list of these 300 taxes. Publish the list. Folks, the press conference yesterday took a turn. You know, there's an adage. There's a saying, if you can't dazzle with brilliance, just baffle with the excrement of a male cow. If you can't dazzle with brilliance, well, he took the thing serious yesterday. He took the thing serious because people have been questioning the feasibility, for instance, of the Wales Gas to Shore project. You know, lots of the commentators, lots of the experts on these issues. So the Wales Gas to Shore project is going to end up like the Skeldon modernization project, the Skeldon Sugar Factory. Is going to end up as a massive white elephant like that. Well, who tell him to say this? How dare you, Chili G, Donna George, Marlin, Yvette Moore, how dare you all question the man feasibility study? He can dazzle you all now with some brilliance. Of course, in these important press conferences, he comes to dazzle with brilliance.
I've never seen a project this feasible in my life. If I had money, that's all. I would invest in something without blinking an eye. But these people, it's an intellectual kind of bullshit that they go on with every day. Every day, it's nonsense, pure nonsense. What don't you understand about these numbers? Oh, now would it come on stream? You think Exxon would put in $1 billion now of advance money if they didn't think this is feasible too? It's a big company.
Yeah, and Trench Crapo, I mean, the vice president wonders why the, the media, why Starbuck News, no one has spared too much ink. Folks, I tell y'all, cuckoo, cuckoo, something is happening up there. G, something is happening up there. I don't know why y'all force me to watch these press conferences, to report these things back to y'all. Why aren't y'all getting that this gas to shore project is going to be good for Guyanese? The same fella sat on the stage and asked Guyanese a few years ago, why y'all ain't getting by this Kelnan modernization factory? It's not going to be good for Guyana. Why? Folks, I am telling you, the press conference took a dark turn yesterday. We got a one about the mental health, to put it bluntly, the vice president.
I've never seen a project this feasible in my life. If I had money, that's all. I would invest in something without blinking an eye. But these people, it's an intellectual kind of bullshit that they go on with every day. Every day, it's nonsense, pure nonsense. What don't you understand about these numbers? Oh, now would it come on stream? You think Exxon would put in $1 billion now of advance money if they didn't think this is feasible too? It's a big company.
Yeah, folks, you all know the vice president got to do. The vice president got to keep mixing a little medication in that tea he always drinking there, wash it down with the water. But like he missed it yesterday, you could tell he'd been off of his pills for a little bit. He's been off of the pills, and he wonders why the media don't want to cover this. These riveting press conferences. And as we're in the media, he starts to threaten the media now. If y'all don't cover me, and all these important things the government doing, and all these important things I talk in the press conference, if y'all don't cover me, you see these state ads that we put to subsidizing the income there, these state ads that you all benefit from, Sabak News, and these state ads that you benefit from, Kaichur News. If you all don't come up to scratch and report on these important matters of state that I have to come and keep repeating every week, y'all gonna be in trouble. Y'all gonna be in trouble. Y'all want to report what y'all want to report.
These same people who believe that they do not have an obligation to inform the public truthfully, that could openly peddle misinformation, much to the disadvantage of ordinary people, they're the ones who believe they would shout at the top of their voices when ads funded by taxpayers are given out. They believe they have a God given right to those ads, but not a God given right to inform people publicly or truthfully.
Yeah. So that's a threat. That's a threat, folks. That's a threat. Report correctly, or else watch the ads. I can bring y'all to y'all needs. Y'all not covering Tracy and Lakshman Aziz. Y'all not covering accurately what I'm saying in my important press conferences. Y'all have a duty, to write. And he was watching an action movie while thinking about Catherine and Nigel and Norton. He was watching an action movie. It was around 7 in the evening. He was alone in the north wing of the huge mansion there. That's what that's what he wants. Let's turn to some of his friends, though. let's let's turn to some of his friends because I worry, folks. Y'all better smash that emoji button, yeah. Y'all don't want to see how you start going unhinged myself at this end, folks. Folks, there is no country on earth. There is no country on earth, folks. Like some some of the people we got to deal with. Let's turn to some of his friends. You know, some of his friends across the pond. Y'all remember them? Eating dogs and cats and the people pets on the other side. Let us turn to his mentor, Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump. The origins of the cat and dog eating. He's have some riveting press conferences himself. Some riveting. Y'all remember the recent, probably the only presidential debate we'll see between Kamala and Trump, because soon as Kamala left the stage that night, Kamala says that I want another debate. Trump has recently come out and said, it's, it's not going to happen. He says, no other debates before the national election. Wisely. Now we're learning, where Trump got this thing about dog eating and cat eating from. Listen to what Trump said during the course of the debate.
What they have done to our country by allowing these millions and millions of people to come into our country, and look at what's happening to the towns all over the United States. And a lot of towns don't want to talk. It's not going to be Aurora or Springfield. A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country, and it's a shame.
Yeah. I love how he says it. I love how he says it. They're eating the dogs. Like he has seen them with his own eyes. Like he has seen them for himself. He was there. They're eating the dogs. Can you believe that? They're eating the pets. Folks, in 2 lifetimes, there'll never be another like Trump. Never. But they're telling us this was information that was put out on social media by a woman in Springfield, Ohio. Springfield. This information was put out by a resident there. She, in turn, her name is Erica Lee. Erica, in turn, got this information fourth hand. Erica got this information fourth hand. That's what they're telling us. Fourth hand information. Erica got that she heard somebody said that they saw some cat somewhere strung up, ready to be skinned. And Erica put out this fourth hand information. The police in Ohio, among other officials, including, they're telling us, his running mate, J.D. Vance, had also said that this information was not credible. But lo and behold, your boy Jack Rio, Trump.
What they have done to our country by allowing these millions and millions of people to come into our country, and look at what's happening to the towns all over the United States. And a lot of towns don't want to talk. It's not going to be Aurora or Springfield. A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country, and it's a shame.
Yeah, I love it. They're eating the dogs. Folks, my wife and I were watching the debate. We were watching the debate. I was suffering her to watch the debate. This is your penance. Whatever sins you commit in life. So we watched the debate. And I told her on the spot, I said, this is going to be a thing. This is going to be a thing. right? They're eating the dogs, and you gotta love Kamala's face. They're eating the dogs. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Whenever they need a little picker up or refer to the subject matter, they're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Love it. I love it. But as been that, folks, a lot of things happening in the region. Look, things tight. A lot of places. Y'all think it's only here? Y'all think it's only here? Things tight. I didn't even know this was a thing. I didn't even know this was a thing. But this is Antigua and Barbuda. And they said a store was robbed. Folks, now when you hear, break and enter and so on, if the store is closed, I said to go into the cash register. If the store was robbed, I said it's money. No. People robbed the store in Antigua and took away the hair. 127,000, I guess this is EC dollars as is Antigua. It's even worse if it's US. $127,000 in here. I'm not making this stuff up. $127,000 in here. Now, hold on. How many of you got family in Antigua? I used to. If you get a barrel for Christmas and you get hair in it, be careful. Be careful. Folks, if you buy the hair legitimately, or if it's teeth in hair, does it wear the same way? Right? Or is scratched a little bit? I don't know. I just don't know. Some of you might be wearing teeth in hair right now. I don't know this was a thing. So, Marlon, Wenda, and Valerie, you, Jilly G, you could be walking down your road, people ain't snatching your bag no more. Them boys drag off your wig and go running up the road. I can see it now. Alison Jones, people drag off your wig and go running. Ford, are you phoning got nothing in this? Look at them price wig fetching now. Right? Margaret Nelson says, here today, gone tomorrow. Pun intended. Only Margaret could come up with something. Here today. It's like Jack Leo. Here today, gone tomorrow. Right? Margaret, you could be busting down by the battery. I'm going to run up to you. Right? You says the gold change the diamond. No. It's a Brazilian weave. Right? This place is called Everything Here 268, according to the news media. Everything Here 268. Right? 268. Them boys breaking the place. Fetch me the hair. Folks, if your house get breaking into these days, right, head to where you got the hair stash. That might be what the people looking for. In my Margaret voice, here today, gone tomorrow. Barry said wigs pricey. Wigs and settee, as we used to say back in the days. As y'all used to say, wigs and your living room set, suite, fetching the same price now. Wig and fridge, fetching the same price. Who knew? Who knew, folks? Who knew? But this is it. The fetch with the hair. Right now, some scalp might be itching. You don't know. You don't know. We don't know. You know we don't know. Folks, let's move on. I'll show it to you already. Let's move on. Moving on, folks. Moving on. Mwah. I got my own sound effects now. Once we come into 592, that's how it goes. Y'all know the whole thing. Congrats to all of those athletes participating in these sporting events or folks, it's Heritage Month. I did say y'all better get in some of the action, what's happening, what's going on there with Heritage Month. Lots of activities. I'm gonna try to catch some of the action myself in some of our indigenous communities. But lots happening. right? So you have the annual Heritage Games happening. Some of it started at the Everest Sports Club, and of course, you know, a lot of teams participating there. We're looking forward to catching some of it. 735 athletes overall be participating in these games, and we want to wish all of them the best. We want to wish all of them the best. While that's happening, folks, you see, start your light. It's Friday. Yeah, start bringing you a little light this morning. But y'all share the light, the man. Y'all just locked in here, you know, with Trump and Jagneo madness. Right, look, some light news. Congrats to all those athletes who are going to be participating. Give it your best, give it your all. We saw some of our chess champions too. They're in some far-flung part of the world, you know, bringing their talents to bear and keeping our flag flying high. Right? Keeping our flag flying high. We want to say best wishes to them as well. We want to say best wishes to them. A fantastic team. You know, I always give it up to people who excel in this area. Chess, you know, to study the board, to know the moves. You know, a lot like politics. I always give them the edge. Give them the edge. Congrats to our team who are overseas and pursuing this. Our chess champions, our local chess champions, they've gone overseas and participating in an international tournament. Best wishes to them. Best wishes to them. Yep. So that's one of the things we're following this morning, folks. And a multiplicity of other things. I hope we get through it. We are watching for instance, our national, as we're still on this, our national chess player, Anthony Drayton, along with teammates, Loris Netu, right? And the reigning champion, the reigning local chess champion, Tafin Khan, they're representing us at the 45th Chess Olympiad. Look how far they've gone. They're in Budapest, Hungary. And these games are, this tournament is going from September 10th all the way up to September 23rd. We want to wish them the best. 190 countries participating. We want to wish them the best. The female team includes Jessica Calendar, Sasha Sharif, and junior players. We have CL Clement, Aditi Joshi or Joshai, along with one Trishkiol Archibald. I hope I'm pronouncing these names correctly. Forgive me if I do. Chess, our local chess champions. Forgive me if I'm pronouncing it incorrectly, but we want to say congrats to all of them and to keep our flag flying high. Some of the other things we're following this morning, folks, as we step up to program time, that a doctor has been seriously injured in an accident overnight in Babis. We're still waiting on this national conversation on road safety that Air Finale promised at the start of the year. We're still waiting on that. But we want to say our thoughts and prayers to this doctor. I think this is Babis we're talking about, this accident that happened overnight. The doctor, they said, is in very serious condition, I think at the New Amsterdam Public Hospital there. And as we have more reporting on this, we're going to let you know. It's a Cuban doctor, if memory serves me correctly. It's a Cuban doctor, and we just want to say our thoughts and prayers with a good doctor. With a good doctor. We got to continue as far as possible, folks, to use our roads with all the C's, you know, caution and consideration and all of that, folks. Slow down overall, and let me arrive alive. Slow down. Right? What's the great haste? Right? You're tired, pull over, take a rest. We don't think about these things, right? We don't think about these things. We say, you know, everybody's a good driver. I'm a good driver. I could manage. Take care on the roads, whether you're going or coming. Please and thank you. Take care on the road. Let's be cautious. Let us be cautious on the roadways out there. All right, let's be cautious. Look what else we're following this morning. Remember that story we had to hear, not from the media, not from the Ministry of Social Services, right? But we had to hear from our influencers online that it was a child who gave birth 11 years old, the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation, 11 years old, and folks started wondering what was happening. You know, they didn't see any ministry officials, they didn't see anybody there, and they started to wonder what was happening. That's how this story came out. And then the ministry said in their press statement that months ago, this story came to their attention and it was being investigated, and that the file was with the DPP. The child's file, they got a pretty good sense who was involved, and the child's file was in the DPP. Now, I was wondering, an 11-year-old gets pregnant, no doubt told the authorities who raped her, because an 11-year-old can't give consent, who raped her, and no charges has been laid. No charges has been laid. Mind you, just to revert to our other story with the injured doctor, this is Elizabeth Alvarez Navarro, a 32-year-old Venezuelan doctor at the New Amsterdam Public Hospital. And reporting suggests that Dr. Navarro sustained severe head injuries in this very serious road accident. Elizabeth Alvarez Navarro, Venezuelan doctor attached to the New Amsterdam Public Hospital. Thoughts and prayers with her. Back to this story. Months ago, right? Months ago, filed with the DPP, no charges. That stood out to us. In the case of this 11-year-old, Social Protection, Social Services said they're looking at it. Interesting, folks. Interesting. Running up to program time. And the other bizarre things that occur in the 592, part-time worker is alleging being arrested and stripped. Being arrested and stripped. Folks, stranger than fiction. Stranger than fiction. The vice president says these are small matters. Don't interest all guy needs. But him watching an action movie should make the front pages. Drupati Dinarayan, a government part-time worker from number 56 village under quarantine, Region 6. Drupati Dinarayan claims she was arrested and stripped at Springlands police station after being accused of receiving an overpayment of 40,000 instead of 20,000. She received not 40 million, 40,000 instead of 20,000 for 5 days of work. Orin Don, Drupati Dinarayan says she was arrested and stripped and later told to return the alleged overpaid amount, which she denied even receiving. Drupati Dinarayan says she was humiliated when stripped in custody and had to lodge her salary at the station and was placed on $30,000 bail. They're telling us that while police officials confirmed the investigation was ongoing, divisional commander, or rather the divisional commander, Senior Superintendent Shiv Prasad Bakas, has denied that Dinarayan was stripped and searched at the station. Dinarayan says she's standing by her account of what transpired for $40,000. Arrested and stripped. Welcome to Guyana. But these things don't make the press conference. No, these are small matters. Action movie. That's what we should be focused on. Right? That's what we should be focused on. Police says they are now implementing 24-hour surveillance cameras, right, to take note of what's happening on the roads. Now, that sounds all well and good. That sounds all well and good. I wish they would tell us what the full plan is and how citizens are going to benefit from this. Show us the ecosystem. Who watching the cameras? Who watching the cameras? Or are they going to put a digital tag on Nigel Yu's vehicle, for instance, and know where he's going and where he's coming from? Instead of watching for real criminal activity, traffic infractions and so on out there. You getting this thing? Peace, 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 peace. So now poles are being planted as the amended Traffic Act takes effect. We're watching that. We're getting piece of this. So show us the full thing. Lay out the plan for us. Please and thank you. Maybe we can spend some time during our press conferences, these riveting press conferences where national issues are discussed, to talk about what's happening here and how citizens are going to really benefit from this. What's happening in sugar, in the sugar industry? David Armagon, the Region 6 REO. Is he REO? Or the chairman? Whichever, whatever he is. He said that Rose Hall struggling. Billions, folks. Y'all know the numbers. This didn't make the press conference yesterday. Right? These small issues. But the regional chairman has to be the one to tell us. Even though billions being pumped into the industry, billions being pumped into places like Rose Hall, he said everything is not everything here. He said it's Rose Hall Sugar Estate is facing challenges in sugar production efficiency compared, for instance, to Albion. Armagon is attributed to saying, he said the estate requires 20 tons of sugarcane. Right? More than 20 tons of sugarcane to produce 1 ton of sugar. Right? He said significantly higher than the 14 tons needed at Albion, for instance. But we can still pour billions more into Rose Hall. And you all know why. You all know why. So the chairman of the region, this is not the vice president. He's too busy watching action movie. Region 6 chairman has to tell us Rose Hall is inefficient. Inefficient. What's in the newspapers this morning? Led to the editor, WPA on the attack. Their take on the mid-year report. Their take on the finance ministry mid-year report. Right. Wow. I gotta get Dr. Hines. I want to hear from himself on some of what's happening here. But in the letter to the editor this morning, WPA says that Guyana is transitioning from a post-colonial criminal enterprise to a rent estate, benefiting from oil revenues which are unequally distributed among the political elite and their associates, friends, family, and favorites. The WPA emphasized the need for timely, analytical, and less verbose reports to allow for more actionable insights. And the WPA also, in this letter to the editor in today's paper, it has reiterated their support for the Buxton proposal of cash transfers to address growing inequalities. I want to hear some more about this from Dr. Hines. Growing inequalities, folks. That's one of the things we followed this morning. And then as we're in the papers, the what column is this? Metro News. Peeping Tom has an interesting column this morning. Circling back, recommitting to this notion we heard from former Chancellor of the University of Guyana, Dr. Ramcharan, about Guyana exhibiting shades of autocracy. Shades of autocracy. And you all know by now, the other boardness from culture run out. Ramcharan run out, defending the government on this. Somebody else too. They roll out, swim out, flick out. The AG spoke to this as well. Right? Well, Peeping Tom would not be denied his or her, because we don't know who writes the column. Right? His or her, Peeping Tom would not be denied his or her own views on where we are. Shades of autocracy, you know. In any society, you have to have a multiplicity of views. So I welcome the views of Dr. Ramcharan. Those views must flourish right next to the views of the PPP on action movies and other issues of national importance. Those views matter as well. We're not going to deny those views at all. Or as the Antigans, who 1 and 2 might be wearing a Tiffin wig right now, might say, at all. They just left out the act. Life too short. Life too short. They just go straight to the tall. See? So we saw Peeping Tom wailing into this and saying, look, basically, let me really examine this thing. Birdnest brother. Let me really examine this thing, AG. Let me really examine this thing here. Ralph, the local Ralph. Let me examine it. You know, Bertrand Ramcharan might not be all that wrong. Look, we gotta drill down on some issues, you know. Yeah. Some of these issues we gotta drill down on. Don't let it come wrong, we funny. We gotta drill down on our issues for ourselves. So I welcome this analysis by Peeping Tom. I'm trying to find my space in my notes. I think we remember everything just like that. I want to be accurate to what they mentioned. But I'm happy that they focused on this. Extremely happy that they touched on it, because I thought the other boardness would have the final say. Ramcharan can have the final say. So I was very happy when I heard and saw Peeping Tom, you know. And you know, if we put our views out there, oh, they're biased. Oh, they don't know what they're talking about. That's what they're going to want to say. But again, in a nutshell, Peeping Tom, looking at some other countries and some other authors, says you could have what looks like a democracy. Right? You could have what looks like a democracy. We can look at our neighbors to the west. You could see a parliament functioning. But that doesn't mean democratic norms are being exercised there. You got police force and army and all of that. You got separation of powers and all of that. And you have a dictatorship operating. I'm going to commend that column to you all. Right? You know, these newspapers should send us a check for all the advertising that we do for them. They should cut us a check when the month come. You'll have a conscience now. Live and let live. Please and thank you. So that is the point that the column was making, and making reference to Fareed Zakaria, his warning to liberal democracies. And I've read this other places too. It's a fantastic book on how democracies fail. They talk about this too. I want to circle back to this in another discussion with some other folks. Right? So Fareed Zakaria, love watching him on CNN. His warning to liberal democracies, it has bearing on our own risk of autocracy. Bertrand said this, we a full autocracy. But he said we got shades of it, and them boys vexed. Imagine if he'd said the full thing. He said we got shades of it. That's part of what he says. Referring again, this is Peeping John, referring to Zakaria ideas that highlighted the fragility of democratic systems where governments can drift towards autocracy while maintaining a democratic appearance. Could we talk about that? Drifting to autocracy, but you're maintaining a democratic appearance. This is what Professor Bertrand Ramcharan was concerned about, suggesting that recent government actions like scrutinizing NGOs, judicial overreach, wanting to change the cybercrime law and interpreting it your own way, wanting to expand it to silence political opponents. Bertrand said this could signal a shift towards shades of autocracy. But them boys ain't like that. And of course, the folks who study this issue says that authoritarianism often infiltrates subtly. It's not one day. Subtly, shades of it. And then in a year or 2, 5 years, full blown, you're gone. Right? It infiltrates authoritarianism. Infiltrates subtly under the guise of legal and regulatory measures while challenging the true essence of democracy. That is the reasoning there. Shades of autocracy. And you see the old boy, listen to him talk about the media houses and the ads. Y'all don't want to cover the things I want to talk about, the action movies and so on, the advertising. We might want to watch that. Good folks. That's going to do it for us at this end. The first 15, I think we covered about 30 or so. The first 15 things, folks, as you start the day to day, that we think you ought to know about. Karen and Yvette and Everett, Lynchan and all of you folks. Have a fantastic rest of the day. That's our time this morning. Matt Barra, we see you there as well. Roy and David, we see you too. Everett Small and all our favorite people. That's going to do it for us at this end. Gail Allicock, Wenda Hudson, Maxine Monroe, Rastuman, and all the other folks who are joining us today. That's our time. Stay safe. Have a fantastic day. That's our program. We're going to leave it there.